Good morning, ladies. How are you? I hope everything is good. It's an early morning here in Copenhagen, and I got a long day ahead of me. Right after filming this, I gotta go finish up the newsletter, and then I got to put new skin on the spliff. Then gotta roll a whole lot more spliffs because it's the Chronic show tonight. Then I'm gonna be out by Chronics. I got to learn some of the lyrics for Lake of Fire, and I got to perform that tonight, and I got to be selling all night spliffs and the lyrics to the songs and the music to the big spliff and all of that. But now, yeah, so it's gonna be a long day, and it started early, but I've rested and I'm gonna have a good breakfast. I'm gonna be strong. So greetings to you all, greetings to my wife, my beautiful wife, and my beautiful daughter, and to all my sisters who I've met along the way, and those of you who have not met yet, I'm looking forward to meeting you and to continue this mission. Thank you so much for your support and everything, and for your patience as I'm trying to build this thing and you're wondering why I have you around. But you could say that you've been there from the beginning, from the scratch. You've seen it grow, and really your faith means a lot and your patience means a lot. Anyway, now I just want to put a little more clarity around how you're going to be empowered. As you know, I hate the word. I don't really think it is in me to empower you, because I got many reasons, and I've said that many times before. But just for the sake of communicating with the world and communicating on a platform that everybody understands, we're going to use the word empowered. But I hope it's the last time because it should only happen once, and then you should be in power, and we'll never have to use the word empowerment again. Because for how long can you keep empowering people? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this is the issue here. This is the NEPAD Business Foundation. So any which way possible, you all need to have a copy of it, and you all need to make yourselves very familiar with it, because it is the platform on which a company like ours, Cool Mom Records, can become integrated in the program for Africa's development in the best way. It is a result of my favorite president, President Thabo Mbeki, who I see as the architect of Africa's future, and he created NEPAD, and out of NEPAD came the NEPAD Business Foundation. As you can work out, there's a lot of businesses that are involved, so it's a network of businesses that got Africa's interests at heart, and some stakeholders of different manners. Here we have a page with the logo of all the stakeholders, and it's pretty comprehensive, to use a word that I love, with comprehensive corporate social responsibility. Now these are all corporates, you see. So when we're creating what we're creating in Cool Mom Records, CCSR, these are going to be our partners and our customers and our friends and our network. And you can see right across we've got Anglo-American, Escom, Barclays Bank, Deloitte, and quite right across the board. You got Price Waterman Cooper right there, and the German corporation. I mean, it's pretty big. We've also got our big enemy, Nestle, who are the ones buying up all the water rights. And I'll have to let you know that it is impossible to fight people like Nestle. It is only possible to change them and to influence them and touch them where it matters most, which is by the money. The whole issue about water, we could go into it, but I've got a philosophy of including people in the solution rather than creating conflict. Rather than confrontation, I use inclusion, win them in, assimilate. Now I think that we have a business, a model and structure that is so powerful that no matter whoever tries to confront us, we will assimilate them sooner or later. So even with people, when I see them want to follow a certain way, and I see, okay, they don't really get me and they want to follow their way and prove themselves, I say, fine, let them go, here, give them rope, because I know for sure that I will assimilate them. That is just a given fact. We've got the God's angels and the kingdom and everything on my side. It's impossible. Nobody can run away. This thing is so high you can't jump over it, so low you can't go under it, so wide you can't get around it. This is the real thing. It is here to stay, and it is here to stay forever. Anyway, like I said, this is your passport to that power as cool moms. So I would have to just read something out of it from the patron of this organization so that you get the idea of how our company is going to go hand in hand with the NBF. Now the patron, her name is Graça Machel. She is the widow of Nelson Mandela, and she's also the widow of Samora Machel. So without going too much into that, let's just say here, I'm just going to read her words to you. And she says, having been a strong advocate for the empowerment of women in Africa for over 3 decades, I think it is time we redefine the meaning of gender equality to reflect modern day realities. Gender equality is not a challenge for the modern day woman to overcome. It is a function of both genders working together to develop the right mix of dynamics that allow for equal social rights. The fight for gender equality therefore means balancing the unequal power relations within our social construct and their translation to how men and women behave as well as treat each other. Okay. She goes on to say, in 2015, the African Union launched the Africa Agenda 2063 as a roadmap to build a better and more prosperous continent. One of its key focus areas is to ensure that Africa's development is people-driven and that it is reliant on the potential of all African people, especially its women and youth. This is vital when looking at setting the right foundation for inclusive economic growth and long-term development. African women account for almost 49% of the population, and Africa has one of the most youthful demography in the world, with projections that it will hold the world's largest able-bodied population in 50 years. Without deliberate action to include Africa's women and the youth as partners and participants to achieve the economic aspirations of this continent, Africa will not be able to achieve its development objective. So you have to be deliberate in trying to make this happen. So creating Cool Mom Records is a very deliberate move, very thought through, and I've looked for the people who I want to include, and it's a deliberate move. According to a recent UNICEF and UNESCO's Atlas of Gender Inequality in Education report, there is greater gender disparity in the Arab states, South and West Asia, and in Sub-Saharan Africa compared to any other region. In Sub-Saharan Africa, UIS data show that 9.5 million girls will never set foot in a classroom. 9.5 million girls will never set foot in a classroom compared to 5 million boys in the same region. It is concerning that such numbers refer to children that will not receive a formal education, but what is even more alarming is the 52% fractional difference in the number of girls that will miss school compared to boys. The empowerment of African women and building up the capacity of our youth is the key to ensuring the successful socio-economic development of Africa. I just read out of the highlights in that article. In the fight for gender equality, we are not doing enough. Africa needs champions for social rights, for equal social rights, and an equal number of them must be men. Having only women at the forefront of this fight is not delivering the required results within acceptable timelines. More often than not, power is unnoticed by those who are privileged to have it. Men have to be made aware of the power they hold over women's lives in our patriarchal societies. We must make them understand that the concept of equal rights does not mean power over men, but it's a call for shared power. Men are the missing ingredient to have a meaningful and lasting difference in the fight for gender equality in Africa. Well, always a missing ingredient, like you said, where's the daddy, where's the baby daddy, it's always like that. We are always missing from there, and I was missing as well from my daughter's life, and I'm happy to be reunited with her. But I was missing for a reason. I was missing because I was setting up the foundation of what we are doing now, and thank God we are actually able to reconnect so beautifully and work together so beautifully. Of course, there's scars and there's stuff that you cannot change, but that's how it is. But in general, what we're doing should also be like a guideline for all the men who've been missing to somehow be part of it. Even though they can't come back and form a family, can't come back to their former partners, they can be part of a structure that does, part of a structure that is there for the partner and their children, that if they contribute to that structure, there's some way paying back for having been away, and being away is not necessarily just physically away, it's also mentally away, feeling incapable as a man, feeling inadequate as a man, and all of that. So the stages of rehabilitation of our brothers, step by step, and that's what we're also trying to do with this organization, is to rehabilitate and bring in the man them and make them, stop them from being worthless, like you would say, but to really be part of the community. So our music can do that, and that's what our music is there for. So we say, with the youth, we have to get back to basics and prioritize quality education for our people. Africa has